Hello and welcome to your weekly video forecast for the week beginning the 15th of September 2014. Every once in a while, just like we breathe in and out, the universe breathes in and out as well. So sometimes we have those big inhales like we've had the last few weeks where things get really intense. And then occasionally the universe exhales and we kind of let it all out and we have things easier for about a week. And I guess that's relatively speaking because there are some challenging energies present this week. But it's nothing on the scale of the way things have been the last couple of weeks. And that's good because we're leading up to a solar eclipse next week in Libra. We'll talk about that more soon in a video that will be especially on the solar eclipse. But let's talk about this week's astrology. I think the key questions that I would have to ask you is, do you have the strength to say no to something this week, which is ultimately not to your benefit? We've got a sharp aspect going on this week between Mercury and Neptune. This is an aspect that's called a sesquiquadrate. I've talked about sesquiquadrates a few times in the videos. A sesquiquadrate is an angle that's a square, and square is a 90-degree angle, and a half plus another 45 degrees, so it's 135 degrees. Now, astrologers will often refer to this as being somewhat of a minor aspect, but it's referred to as a minor aspect because it doesn't really last that long. It applies and then it separates, so it'll be around for about a day or so. By the way, the aspects that I'm working with, sesquiquadrates, squares, things like that, they can be worked with in Vedic astrology too. The squares, trines, things like that are all part of a branch of Vedic astrology that is called Tajika astrology. And I tend to add the sesquiquadrates to there, and you can find some pretty profound information from doing so. So what's this aspect between Mercury and Neptune all about? Well, the sesquiquadrate between Mercury and Neptune is talking about a dialogue that you have going on with your heart about what's right for you and what isn't right for you. Only you're being tempted by something which wants to pull you in a specific direction. It perhaps wants to suck you in to a drama which you've been sucked into before and didn't turn out ultimately to your benefit, but you actually do have a choice this time. Neptune is over in a section of Pisces. It's called Shatabisha. Now, Shatabisha has a very deep responsibility within astrology, and that responsibility is to obscure something so that something of greater depth can be revealed to the person that's affected by it. In essence, it creates a healing crisis. And when we face that healing crisis, we come to a deeper understanding, a profound revelation, which we might not have otherwise had the opportunity to come to. Mercury is in Chitra. Chitra relates to doing the right thing. But Chitra is also connected to a bright star in the sky that's called Spica. So Chitra also has the tendency to allure one towards something. But its process is to make you go to that point within yourself, within your heart, where you weigh what is right and you weigh what is wrong in the balance of your heart in relation to your own ethics and make a decision. And there is definitely a decision that is important for you to make this week. Now, Mars is also in the background, and it's forming a tense aspect of its own with Neptune. It's forming a square. Mars is in Anuradha. And Mars in Anuradha tends to have an energy that can work to its own demise. It can care too much. So there's something that you perhaps care too much about, and your passions can be clouding your vision as to what might actually be to your benefit. So there's a need to take a balanced approach to the situation. Venus is also forming an aspect this week with Saturn. It's forming a sextile. And this is saying that you have an opportunity to be your own best friend this week. You have an opportunity to champion your own cause and actually make the right decision for yourself. And once you make that decision, some opportunities begin to open up for you. Saturn is in Vishaka. And Vishaka can many times have an energy that's related to not knowing which direction to go. You see a lot of options that are open and available to you, but you're not sure which step to take. And so you tend to hold your space until something becomes clear. Venus is in a section of Virgo that's called Uttara Phalguni. And Uttara Phalguni is prosperity through relating. But primarily it's about your relationship with yourself, the sacred contract that you have with yourself, to work in harmony with your soul, to partner the mind and the heart with the soul in order to make wise and beneficial decisions for yourself. Uttara Phalguni is also about championing the cause. So you need to be the champion of your own cause this week. In doing so, in facing the truth and facing some things that maybe you don't want to face, because we have to remember Saturn's over in Scorpio, but through facing some truths that perhaps you're not that comfortable looking at, but doing so anyway, you begin to make a decision. Some options open up for you. You may have to make a sacrifice, but through making that sacrifice, something wonderful begins to open up for you. And we're going to get some hints on what that might be over the coming weeks as we approach a solar eclipse next week. And then on the 8th of October, we will have a lunar eclipse in Aries. It's part of a grand trine between Mars, Uranus and the Moon, and Jupiter. Very, very powerful energy and very life-changing energy. You can hear more about that in the October horoscopes, which should be posted to the website within the week. Hey, if you haven't had a chance to, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube page where you can continually get updates about when there's a new video that's been posted. I also offer an extensive range of astrological services, which you'll notice above. So if you want to know more about this week's aspects and how it impacts your personal astrology, please just feel free to click on that link above. You'll have an option to either schedule an astrology consultation with me where we can interact in person via web conference over your personal astrology, or you can do an in-depth personalized video report where I will look at your astrology and record a video of your chart and pointing out the key points in your chart in relation to whatever your question might be. And I also offer written reports. That's going to do it for your weekly video forecast for the 15th of September. Until next week, please take very good care of yourself.